The largest book in the scriptures is the Psalms, and it's God's word and God's voice to us. Poetic verses. We sometimes consider the prophets alone as the voice. No. The Bible is full of ways that are called divine mannerisms, ways with which God speaks. The Bible says in Hebrews 1 that God who spoke diverse manners, diverse, different ways, through the prophets obviously, but different ways. Hebrews 1 has spoken to us in these last days through His Son. I think if we go into announcements now, we'll probably have heard the message. And I didn't know they would take that number that way. I think it's so succinct, it's so strong at the same time. You don't need anybody to interpret what it said. You don't need any biblical exegesis of the word to understand that my house is full, but my field is empty. In other words, God is saying, I have two things. I have many people that stay at home, but my field, they don't want to go there. The field is a place of working, service. In my house, I have a dining table. My table, people want to stay around my table. So the Lord quotes Psalm 23, thou preparest before me in the presence of my, and because you do that, you will become, God begins to serve you. Imagine you sitting there and God waits on us. You want to stay around the table to eat from the table, and you want the master to come and pour you wine and your cup run it over. You know, he's the one that pours it. You want him to anoint your head. It's all about us. Well, actually, the man also has a field. But you know, the problem with us is we forget that like our human, earthly, biological fathers. Watch me. The table will be empty if the field is not progressive. Daddy's got to work on Mondays to Fridays so they can put food on our table every day. We want to stay around the table, but somebody's working for the stuff on the table. Together. That's a message that we can close. Would you not care about... I had an earthly father who at one point in his life was wealthy, and towards the end of his life was broke. And it affected us at home. Family that used to go to Island Club every weekend. Family that used to do overseas trips once, twice a year. We became people. A family that had 4 or 5 cars. Had drivers taking us to school. Towards the end of his life, when he was broke, we had to move house several times. We had to go cut grasses on his own field. We had to manage our income because Dad is now broke. You know why? The field life affected the table at home. But thank God we have a way of saying, well, God can't be broke. God, my table will always be filled. I know my papa is wealthy. But some people are working on the field. Do you know that? Do you know that? Same father. I know at home we come to worship because at home we pay obeisance. But on the field we serve. On the field we serve. And there are many people that don't just know that people serve. We don't want to work for God. We want God to work for us. Our hands are empty. There are different schools of thoughts. And some say, no. You can't make that sister a worker. Why? She's still a baby. And I've had time to think through scriptures. Truly. What would God want? No. A baby Christian can work for God, but a baby Christian cannot be a leader in church. There are two different things. Leadership is the same as working. When it comes to leadership, you can't get a baby Christian. Because woe be unto the land whose king is a child. But every man, every woman saved by the blood is saved to serve. You're saved to serve. You're saved to serve. The first words that Paul uttered When he got saved, his Lord, what would you have me do? I know it's time for me to do something for you. What would you have me do? So many departments in my Father's house. So many things we can do. Don't you just want to work for God? Some people will do it. If we can pay angels to work for us, we'll pay them. My house is full, but my field is empty. That's why on Sunday morning the sound department will come to check the sound. On Sunday morning the camera crew will come to do their cameras. On Sunday morning the ushers will come to and say, okay, wait a minute, how do you usher? Nobody wants to put in extra hours in a week for the Lord. There's something wrong fundamentally with our understanding of Christianity. I'm serious.